Just like there's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan. In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez, still here.
You know, there's an old joke in America that never really dies. Every time an election comes around, a bunch of celebrities rush to announce that if a Republican wins, they're leaving the country for good. And yet, surprise, surprise, they never actually leave. Not once. Not a single one of these bold promises has ever ended with a packed bag or a one-way flight. Take Miley Cyrus, for example. Back in 2016, she swore up and down that if Donald Trump became president, she was done. She was moving abroad. She even insisted, "I don't say things I don't mean." Well, fast forward to today, and where do we see her? Sitting front row at the Grammys in Los Angeles, not exactly hiding out in Tajikistan. Honestly, if that's her idea of exile, I wouldn't mind trying it. And Miley's not the only one. Comedian Eddie Griffin said he was heading to Africa if Trump won. Guess what? 4 years came and went, and he barely made it out of Van Nuys. George Lopez once joked that if Trump became president, he wouldn't need to be deported, he'd just go back on his own. Spoiler alert, George is still here, still working, and still cashing checks. It's the same routine every time. Loud proclamations, headlines, applause from fans, and then nothing. No moving trucks. No airport goodbyes. Just silence. Now here's the irony. These are the very same people who constantly lecture the rest of us about morality, justice, and what's supposedly wrong with America. They shout that this country is some kind of dystopian nightmare. But when it's time to actually act on their words, they stay. And why? Because deep down, they know the same truth we all know. For all its flaws, there's no better place to be.
Entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they have it. 59% of self-identified liberals say there have been times when they considered leaving America for good, like after NBC canceled The West.
And that's exactly the point Bill Maher made in his latest takedown of woke celebrities. And let me tell you, it was both brutal and hilarious. Maher didn't just poke fun at the hypocrisy, he tore it to pieces. He called out this endless parade of spoiled celebrities pretending that leaving America would somehow be a noble act of resistance. When in reality, it's nothing more than theater. Empty performances for social media clout. Think about it. They say they can't live in Trump's America. But where exactly would they go? Russia, where you can literally be thrown in prison for calling the Ukraine war a war. China, where 50 different crimes can land you the death penalty. Uganda, where simply being gay can mean execution. Or maybe Venezuela, where criticizing the government could get you locked up indefinitely. Let's be real, they're not moving to any of those places. Because the truth is, their version of suffering in America is attending the Grammys instead of the Golden Globes. Or worse, not winning an Oscar. Boo-hoo. Meanwhile, millions of people across the globe are literally risking their lives to get here. That's not an accident.
Russia just referring to the war in Ukraine as a war can get you 15 years in the fabulous prisons made famous by some of the world's most famous novels. You think America's evil because we didn't nominate Margot Robbie for an Oscar? Just wait till you get thrown out the window of your very own dream house.
Here's where Maher's message really hits. It's not just celebrities anymore. Ordinary people are now posting on TikTok saying things like, "The new American dream is to leave." Really? You've got kids on TikTok bragging, "I escaped America." Escaped from what exactly? The Starbucks line? Free Wi-Fi? The ability to criticize your own government online without disappearing into a gulag. Maher nailed it when he said this. The wall we debate about in America isn't there to keep anyone in. Nobody's holding you hostage. If you don't like it here, there are 195 other countries waiting for you.
And Uganda? Oh, they don't just give you a ticket for parking in the rear. You can get the death penalty for it. In China, they have the death penalty for almost 50 crimes. And in 13 countries, atheism is punishable by death.
But here's the big question. If America is really that bad, why are people all over the world desperate to come here, not leave? Why do millions risk oceans, deserts, and fences just for a chance at citizenship? Why do people wait years in line for a green card? You don't see migrants lining up to sneak into North Korea or Venezuela. You don't see people clamoring to move to Saudi Arabia, where women still can't even choose their own clothing. But you do see caravans of people risking everything just to get into the so-called horrible United States. That fact alone shuts down the argument that here's what Maher really exposed. The problem isn't America. The problem is entitlement. Too many people are so comfortable and privileged here that they've lost all perspective. They live better than 90% of the world, but still act like prisoners in some oppressive nightmare.
There's all the TikToks telling Americans things like,
I think the new American dream is to leave.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America.
yeah. Yeah, you don't have to escape America. That wall we're always debating isn't to keep you in.
Take the LGBTQ+ community, for example. Of course, there are still challenges in America. Nobody denies that. But compared to the rest of the world, the US is still the safest haven. In over 60 countries, being gay is against the law. In some, it can literally get you executed. Here in America, you have pride parades, legal protections, media representation, and the freedom to marry whoever you love. Yet some activists claim they need to escape America.
Escape to where?
Europe, where hate crimes against LGBTQ+ people are still widespread. Africa, where dozens of countries criminalize homosexuality. That's not reality. That's privilege talking.
61 imposed restrictions on women's clothing, so bring a scarf. According to Amnesty International, paramilitary groups killed the government's critics in Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, and arbitrary detentions are widespread in Cuba, Ecuador, El Salvador, Nicaragua. If you're wondering how that's just like no cash bail, it's not.
And let's be brutally honest. Most celebrities wouldn't last 5 minutes facing the struggles everyday Americans deal with. They've never had to lose sleep over paying the mortgage. They don't stretch a paycheck to cover rent, groceries, and medical bills. Their tough choices are whether to fly private or first class. That's why their political lectures fall so flat. They live in a bubble, disconnected from reality, yet they preach as if they know better than everyone else. And the hypocrisy doesn't end there. These same celebrities who bash America as some terrible place are also the ones demanding we throw open our borders to let in more immigrants. Wait, if America is so awful, why invite more people in? If this country is truly the nightmare they describe, wouldn't the moral thing be to warn people away, not encourage them to come? It doesn't add up, unless you realize it's not about principle. It's about optics, attention, and clout.
New Republic just ran a story about the vulnerable minorities who want to flee America, including the author, a gay man trapped in the dystopian homophobic hellscape that is New York City. I wonder if he knows that there are 66 countries where just being gay is a crime. Cute story in the news last month. Burundi's president called on his citizens to stone gay people, and not in the good way. Wow, suddenly the don't say gay law doesn't sound all that bad.
And that's exactly why Maher's takedown resonated. He stripped away the theatrics and showed the truth. These celebrity resistance statements are nothing more than virtue signaling. They want applause without sacrifice. They want to look brave without paying any real cost. But here's the part that always stands out. After all the whining, TikToks, Grammy speeches, and dramatic declarations, when the spotlight fades, they stay. Every last one of them. Because no matter how much they complain, they know the truth. There's nowhere bettered, so here's the bottom line. America isn't perfect.
Not even close.
But it's still humanity's best shot at freedom, opportunity, and prosperity. That's why millions dream of coming here. That's why they risk everything to reach our shores. And that's why, despite all their loud threats, the complainers never actually leave, so the next time a celebrity vows to abandon the US if things don't go their way, just laugh. They're bluffing. Tomorrow they'll still be sipping lattes in Beverly Hills, living a life most people on Earth could only imagine. And maybe that's the real joke.
They don't hate America. They love it.
They just love hearing themselves talk even more des. Oh, what do you think? Should celebrities just zip it and stop pretending to be martyrs? Or do you believe they actually mean what they say? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I'm curious if anyone really takes these threats seriously. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
There's plenty more coming.
Because at the end of the day, America isn't a nightmare, it's the dream. And the ones threatening to leave? They're the punchline.
Problems? Yes, I've often cited the America sucks list. Things like being 54th in the world in infant mortality behind Cuba, 19th in literacy behind Russia, 72nd in female representation in government behind Iraq. A lot of work to do here. And is it possible for a country to lose itself so much? that leaving it is justified? Yes, but we're not there yet, not by a long shot, and we don't need quitters. I don't get it. You want so badly for every immigrant to come to this country and experience the good life, but somehow it's so terrible you want to leave? And I see conservatives in Texas are talking secession again. They have 2 bumper stickers in that state. America, love it or leave it, and we're leaving it.